Thank you. Thank you for joining me. Secrets to Resurrecting the Divine Masculine. So today, in today's session, that's going to be no longer than 60 minutes unless if I can help it, because I am one who likes to bring succinctness and directness to what it is that I'm sharing. And so I would love for you to be able to receive as much as possible in that time that's less than 60 minutes today, because I really honor your time. And I also respect our own time containers, because we are all very full. We do lead very full lives. So the purpose of today's webinar is to share some of the wisdom I've gained in my almost 50 years on the planet, and more than half of those being on the path of awakening. So the way that I want today to go is that I'm going to share a little bit about me and my journey, because we have people here that have only just connected with me and don't necessarily know a lot about me. And so I always love to know a little bit about the person who is offering their wisdom from my perspective. And I'm going to share resources to resurrect the divine masculine and create divine union. And at the end, for a couple of minutes, I want to offer an invitation to you and share a little bit about my upcoming program, Radiant Alchemy. So first, I would love to share my intention with you today, which is simply to share resources that help you to remember that you are creator. And there are 3 words that are super important in this, allowing ourselves to receive this truth of being creator. And they are presence, create, and serve. When you bring more and more presence to the beauty of your life and the beauty of existence, you have more and more energy to create what it is that your heart is calling you to create. And as a result, you have a greater capacity to serve humanity and this glorious planet that we have come here for such a short time to live upon and play upon. And that is my intention today. And every single retreat that I ran for the 8 years that I was running them from 2014 to 2021, I would begin with the question, what is your intention? Because every single one of you that is here today has an intention to receive something, even if it's unconscious. You have an intention to receive something by being here today. So I would love to ask you just to take a moment and tune into that intention. What is it for you? What is the intention that you want to enter our conversation today with? And I'm going to take you on just a little activating journey. And if the intention isn't coming to you straight away, maybe it will come as we allow ourselves to drop in now. So I'm going to ask you to just close down your eyes for a couple of moments if that feels good for you. And if it doesn't feel good for you to close down your eyes, just allow yourself to gently gaze to a space in front of you and just let your eyes rest. And as you let your eyes rest, you send the message to your mind that it is safe to rest. And as you allow your eyes to rest and your mind to rest, bring attention to your breath. And when you bring attention to your breath, place your focus upon that place beneath your nose, between your nose and your upper lip. Place your attention there, and as you breathe in, feel the coolness of the air that you breathe in. And as you breathe out, notice that the air may be a little warmer. And allow yourself to attune to that flow for a few breaths, breathing in and breathing out. And notice maybe as you bring your attention to your breath, that your breath deepens. So even though you don't need to place attention on your breath, when you do bring attention to your breath, maybe it deepens or it strengthens or it slows down. When you bring attention to your breath does exactly what it needs to do in that moment for you to receive the greatest amount of nourishment possible. And on your next breath in, I want you to imagine that you can breathe through the crown of your head. And as you breathe through the crown of your head, bring that air down through your spine. And as you breathe out through your tailbone, and imagine that that air is going down into the depths of the earth, connecting with our beautiful Mother Gaia. And as that air circulates, imagine that that air circulates from her heart, from her, around her heart, back up through her crown and out her tailbone. And it circulates back to your crown, down your spine, through your heart, out your tailbone, and back into her, creating this beautiful divine reciprocity of breath as you breathe for her and she breathes for you. Feel the connection as you connect to her heart. And maybe if it helps, you can drop a silver thread from your tailbone down to her heart and feel the connection even deeper. Allowing yourself to be breathed by her, allowing you to breathe her, allowing yourself to breathe in union with one another. And as you breathe in union, you create this beautiful field of divine reciprocity, knowing that your energy are one and the same. You and the mother are one and the same. And then on your next breath, I want you to imagine that you can send a golden thread out through the crown of your head and out, out, out into the cosmos. Imagine that that thread can go infinitely, infinitely into the cosmos, through our sun, the sun of our solar system, past all of the planets and all of the stars, and continue on. That golden thread continues on to reach the central sun, the source, and allow yourself to connect your golden thread in and imagine that this source energy filters down through this golden thread, down through all of the stars, all of the planets, through the sun of our solar system, back down into the crown of your head. And imagine that this beautiful source energy flows through your spine. And notice that you have the capacity to receive and contain this beautiful source energy because of your connection with Mother Gaia. And so allow yourself just in this moment to recognize yourself as the temple, as the vessel where heaven meets earth. And all of this energy is flowing through you. And you not only have the capacity, but you are the generator and the source of all of it. It was via your decision to allow yourself to receive and to give this energy that brings you to this place now as you stand in the center of all of it. And now I'm just going to invite you to retract the silver thread if you sent it to Gaia's heart, and to retract the golden thread from the central sun and bring them back into your body. And allow yourself to come into this seemingly separate form that is sitting here in this room, ready to receive this transmission. And as you do, bring your attention back to the place between your nose and your top lip once again. And bring your attention to your breath. Feel your breath. Feel yourself breathing the air in, a little cool. And as you breathe out, feel the air a little warmer. And just really let yourself settle in this moment. And you may want to take a big, deep breath in and sigh it out as you've allowed yourself to receive all of this energy and to gift this infinite energy to the cosmos. What a gift you've just received and given. And then when you feel ready, allow yourself to just gently open your eyes if they're closed and come back to the screen. Thank you for joining me in that little self-expression, in that little activation. What a gift when we allow ourselves to do that. I always love that experience of feeling my connectedness to all that is. So I wanted to just share a little bit about my journey. It has been long and there's been a lot of pieces to it. I consider myself an explorer and an adventurer in this lifetime. And so it has been quite full. The pieces that I wanted to specifically talk about today are that when I was 19 years old, I joined the military, and I joined the military for various reasons. And as I've evolved more and more over the years, I have gained greater insight as to why I joined the military. And one of the reasons I joined the military was to allow myself to experience a marriage to a man to whom I never actually said yes when he asked me to marry him. And so upon that path, I allowed myself to journey into an experience of really feeling how powerless I had allowed myself to become in this lifetime, despite the the false self-confidence in me as a teenage woman to really take control of my life. And in my own on my own journey, these were the aspects of the imbalanced masculine within me. And so when I was 22 years old, I married a man to whom I never actually said yes. And 3 months after I went into that marriage, I experienced a parachute accident. And in that parachute accident, I broke my ankle and I was in pain and drugged for about 6 months. That parachute accident was the catalyst for me to choose to actually take control of my life. And so the next 12 months was really difficult for me because I was 23 years old. The parachute accident happened 1 week before my 23rd birthday. And the next 12 months saw me just wanting to get away from the life that I had created for myself. And so, as I allowed myself to explore ways that I would be able to get away from it in a somewhat unconscious fashion, I found a way to get myself out of the situation. And I found a new posting to a new place, which was not co-located with my husband. And throughout that aspect of the journey, there was quite a bit of chaos. There was imbalanced masculine and feminine energy within me that created a large degree of chaos in my external world. And at the same time, I experienced the adventure in this lifetime of love at first sight, and which was part of the chaos for me, because this was me experiencing a connection with a man in this lifetime with whom I was not married, and experienced shame and guilt about the way that I felt about him because I was married to another man. And as I let myself pursue that relationship, I began to unravel aspects of myself which were imbalanced, and the journey itself with that man still continues as we were married several years later, after me allowing myself to go on my own particular journey. And I'm sharing little tiny pieces with you, almost like an Indigenous initiatory journey, because the story in this particular instance isn't important. What's important are the small pieces of remembering, which is the journey that I'm taking you on today. Because along this journey, it was my remembering that has allowed me to resurrect aspects of the divine masculine. And so the next level for me of the resurrection of the divine masculine was James, when my husband James deployed to Iraq in 2006. And when he left for that journey, he and I were not friends. And what I decided when he left for that journey was that it didn't matter to me whether he came home or whether he didn't come home. And that decision for me, in my own personal experience, set me upon a path to be abandoned by the masculine. And in reflection, isn't reflection and hindsight an amazing thing? In reflection, what I realized was that it was through my own healing journey, it was through my own reconnection with my feminine and allowing my feminine to lead me where I needed to go and to create a sense of safety, that I shifted my timeline. I shifted the trajectory of my relationship. And when my husband was hit by a bomb in Iraq, instead of dying, which could have very well happened if I had continued on the path of not caring if he came home, he made the choice to come home to me. And so when I sat down in 2010 and asked myself the question, if I create my reality, what was the purpose of me creating a situation where my husband was hit by a bomb and survived? Now, that's a pretty powerful question, I'm sure you'll agree, and also quite a confronting question, because why would I want somebody I love to be hit by a bomb? And my answers were, I wrote a book in 2000 and published a book in 2013 called Women, Money and Intimacy. And that book is about my own self-reflective journey into this particular aspect of my life and the creation of my reality. And the short summation of it, so you don't have to read the book, is that I chose to release a very, very, very old story that I had from lifetimes ago, that I would be abandoned by the masculine. And instead, I was able to set myself on a path where I felt supported by the masculine. I felt trusted by the masculine. I felt like I could trust the masculine. And I allowed myself to lead the masculine whilst also being led by him. And so that has brought me on my own journey in this lifetime of divine union. And there have been many little parts along the way where I have learned more and more about what divine union is. And what I know is that divine union is not something outside of you. I am in relationship with my divine union counterpart because I created this reality within myself, and it always starts within. And so recently, we just returned from a trip to Egypt, which was a really big dream for both of us, actually, for James and I. And I wanted to, after James came home and I began to learn more about the Egyptian myths many years ago, I learned about the story of Osiris and Isis. And if you don't know anything about that story, you might want to Google it or find out a little bit more about it along the way. But for me, what I learned about this story is that, and I'm going to share a very crude version and also my interpretation. So it's really important to remember that the only truth that exists is that which is within you. Everything else is symbolism with which you may interpret reality. And so for me, the story of Osiris and Isis is that Osiris was the ruler of Egypt, and he was the very first pharaoh. And his brother Seth was jealous of him and was also in love with Osiris's wife, Isis. And so there is this story of the competition of the masculine. And Seth decides to, in order to win Isis over, Seth decides to murder Osiris. And he doesn't just murder him, but he dismembers his body and places it across Europe, across Egypt. 14 pieces of Osiris's body, places them across Egypt so that he will never be able to be resurrected. When Isis discovers that he has been murdered, and initially she goes and finds his coffin, which has been thrown in the Nile, and she removes Osiris's body so that she may create, or she may do, the appropriate burial rites before he dies, before he moves on to the next dimension. And then she comes back the next morning and discovers that Osiris is no longer there because he was found by Set. And that's when Set dismembered his body. And so Isis dedicates and devotes herself now to remembering the body of Osiris. And so the journey of Osiris and Isis is one where the devotion of the feminine remembers the body of the masculine in order to create new life, because it is through the remembering of Osiris and the union of Isis and Osiris that their son, Horus, the sun god, is birthed into the world. And Horus becomes the pharaoh. He is able to defeat Set, who takes over the throne once he's killed Osiris, and becomes the true ruler of Egypt. And so again, this is symbolism which each of us gets the opportunity to be able to take into our own heart and ask, what is the true meaning of this for me? And every single one of us will have a different meaning. And that's what I love about the Egyptians are master storytellers. They are the masters of myth, and they give us so much richness of symbol and story to be able to take into our hearts and decide how to live a purposeful, rich life. So Horus is birthed through the remembering of Osiris, but there is one piece of Osiris that Isis is not able to remember, and that is his phallus. And so she, Isis, the feminine, creates a golden phallus, which is used in the union of the remembered Osiris and Isis to create the new life. And so the gold is symbolic here, as is the phallus, which expresses the seed of creation. The feminine has remembered the masculine so that he may share his seed of creation, his golden seed of creation, and together they may birth the sun god. And so this particular story has recently become more symbolic and more emphatic for me. But I began to understand it in 2014 when we traveled Australia, and we were remembering parts of our own existence in our relationship, mine and James, that allowed us to put pieces together so that we could learn. So I wanted to just share a couple of slides with you today as well, because these slides to me are really important on our journey. They've been really important on my journey. So over the years, I have done a retreat. I did a retreat that was called Embody the Sacred Feminine Warrior, which became Embody the Sacred in its last years. But this is one of the most important things that I've found on my own journey of masculine and feminine integration. So if you're having a look at this slide and you're looking at these masculine aspects, the yang aspects, and you're looking at the yin aspects, whenever I would run a sacred feminine retreat, I would begin early on with this particular slide, and we would talk about these different aspects. Most people would agree that the most common attributes for them were the yang attributes that we had been, because I would have a lot of women that would come to me that had been involved in corporate, military, things like that. And so these masculine yang aspects have been very conditioned into us as a part of our existence as not just women, but humans in our society, as people in our society. So the masculine aspects are considered, the doing aspects are considered more valuable than the being aspects of the feminine. And so as we're connecting with our feminine, which is so important, it's important for us to return to these feminine yin aspects. And as we return to these feminine aspects, we connect more with our being, we connect more with our cycles, we connect more into the truth that we're here to receive for simply being who we are. And this helps us to connect with our own worthiness. And we move into this place. Now, what I've found over the years, as people have moved into this place, we can tend to swing to a pendulum. And so we then go heavily into the yin aspects. And it's part of our journey, because it's almost like, I'm so sick of living in this yang way. I want to live more yin. And so we move into the feminine, and there is nothing wrong with that, because it's so important for us to allow ourselves to connect with the value of our formlessness, the value of our imagination, and to realize that just by being, I am worthy of allowing myself to receive whatever it is that I want to receive. And so I share this because what I have experienced over the years within myself, and also within others who have come through my programs, is that we tend to move to this opposite side, to these yin aspects, and we really start to flow from here. And as we flow from here, we can, if we're not vigilant, if we're not conscious, we can get stuck over here in allowing ourselves to be. And these beautiful, powerful, directional aspects of the masculine kind of get pushed to the side because we wanted to move away from those. And so as we come back into balance, we resurrect these aspects of ourselves. And so I'm going to share this other slide with you, which is a beautiful representation of how we can begin to allow ourselves to connect into these sacred aspects of ourselves. So I'll draw your attention to the bottom, the wounded masculine and the wounded feminine, first of all. And if you have a look at the words there's words like shame, there's words like guilt, martyring, uncertainty, scarcity, doubt. These are the feminine aspects that are steeped in our own inability to trust the container, to trust that we have what it takes to be able to receive our dreams. And then if you look at the wounded masculine aspects, there is distrust, judgment, there is the need to control, there's the dominating. So these beautiful directional aspects of the masculine are taken to the extremes when they're wounded, because they're not because if you want to bring it down to its deepest essence, it's because of trust. It's because of separation. It's our inability to allow ourselves to actually connect with the wholeness of who we are. And this is no one's fault. This is a journey of awakening. This is allowing ourselves to realize that we are 50, as in the virtue of being in a feminine body. In very crude terms, we are 51% feminine and 49% masculine. I say that's very crude terms, but we are a balance of both. And so if you then bring your attention to those top aspects, the sacred feminine and the sacred masculine, you can see that the sacred feminine is the embodiment of sovereignty. The sacred masculine upholds that sovereignty. He is the protector and the provider of that sovereignty. He is the boundary holder of that sovereignty. The sacred feminine is receiving, but the sacred masculine ensures that the receiving is done in a discerning fashion. The sacred feminine is choosing, the sacred masculine is pursuing. So he is actively and directively pursuing what it is that allows the feminine to make her choice. She is about expressing and connecting. He is about acting and holding and forming that structure. And you can see those beautiful. So when we go to when you think about the first slide that I showed you, these actually are a mature form of the impact and the connection of the masculine and the feminine working together. So both of these aspects work in this beautiful dance together to create this divine union, this sacred union within. And as we connect more and more with these aspects, we bring more and more of that balance to ourselves, because we're no longer making ourselves wrong. The unhealthy masculine is very competitive. The unhealthy feminine is competitive in a different sense, because she is not allowing herself to receive her connection to all that is. And the way that I started to really allow myself to receive the sacred feminine was to connect with nature. And I wanted to share with you something that came through this morning as I was sitting on the beach and I was just connecting into this webinar. And they are the words that she is the circle, he is the straight line. She is the dream, he is the dreamer. She is the song, and he is the singer. She is, and he does. So the intention, come back to your intention that I asked you about for this webinar today. Your intention is the container within which you move. As you allow yourself to sit here and receive these words that I'm offering to you, the actions that you take in alignment with your intention, these are your masculine. These are the lines within which on which you move within the container of your intention. And the outcome is the connection of both of them. Your intention plus the actions you take in order to receive and be your intention is the outcome. And another way to say this is, in our society, often we think that we have to do things, and when we do things, we'll have what we want and then we'll be happy. But when we come from this beautiful container of the feminine, we come from being, and we align our doing with our being. And when we align our doing with our being, we have what it is that we actually want in every single moment, because we are coming from this place of intention. It starts with her. It starts with the imagining of the circle, the dream, the song, the container. This beautiful planet, this Mother Gaia, is the container upon which we get to play every single day. And so resurrecting the divine masculine within ourselves allows us to be able to connect with this play, to connect with her, to connect with the beauty of her intention, the vastness of her container, and the love that she has to give. And when we connect with that and bring that into our heart, we move with this incredible grace that we weren't able to move with before, because our masculine and our feminine were separate. And when she knows who she is clear, and she can communicate this clarity via her song. And as she communicates, she creates resonance. So he may move within this container and align with his purpose. So I want to share that with you again. She is clear, and she can communicate this clarity via her song. Remember, she is the song. As she communicates, she creates resonance. So he may sing, and he may move and sing within this container and align with his purpose. They work together in this beautiful, incredible harmony. This is the essence of us allowing ourselves to receive both aspects of ourselves. And so my next intention today is to give you some clear action steps, which are obviously aligned with your intention, because you wouldn't be here if you weren't. And so these action steps bring your attention to harmonizing your internal divine union. So the first one is ask yourself, what is your vision? Do you even know what your vision is? And if you don't know, it's okay, because you may not have ever stopped to imagine that you can live the vastness of your vision. I know I certainly wasn't able to, because I was living in the imbalanced aspects of myself. And so if you don't know what your vision is, I really invite you to take some time and ask yourself, if there were no limits to what I could create, what is it for me? What is my vision? This is your opportunity, because it all begins with your vision. With your vision. Remember, she is the song. She is the container. It starts with her, and he has to move within her. He has to have parameters in order for him to know whether he's on the right path. And so if she hasn't clearly communicated the parameters of the container, he doesn't know which way he is supposed to go. So once you've allowed yourself to communicate this vision to yourself, ask yourself, what are small daily steps I can take to begin living more of this vision? Because these steps, and here it is, resurrecting the divine masculine, these steps create trust in yourself, in your container, in your feminine, and your ability to trust that your container has the capability to receive and hold the flow. So can you see here that as we begin to balance the masculine and the feminine within ourselves, as we resurrect the divine masculine, we must at the same time evolve and resurrect elements of the feminine which were previously wounded. We may have begun resurrecting the divine masculine because we were wounded. Isis began resurrecting Osiris because she was wounded. And as she rose higher and higher as the eagle, she was able to heal more and more aspects of herself. So there's this beautiful dance that occurs as we begin this path of resurrecting our own divine masculine. The third step is to lean into challenging emotions and thoughts, because remember, on that second slide, some of the wounded feminine was shame and guilt. And so as we begin to connect more with our divine masculine, we may find that we feel guilty about not putting others first, or we feel ashamed about speaking the truth of what it is that is going on for our voice. And I know that for me personally, in my throat chakras, I've allowed myself to speak up over the years. I've unlayered many levels of shame within my own voice. And the more that we can lean into these, and again, trust ourselves, trust the container that we are creating, the more that our divine masculine has the confidence to be able to continue to walk this path and to speak, because he knows he's safe. Again, this affirms the trust that your feminine is strong enough to hold the flow and the masculine direction is sound. The fourth action step is to be vigilant about practicing embodiment exercises. So you ground these beliefs into your body. It's not enough to just know this stuff. It must be embodied. It must be the action that you take aligns with the vision. And this is where the vigilance comes in, because the fear wants to take hold, or the shame wants to take hold, and we retract. And you know what? It's okay if sometimes we retract, because when we choose to walk on this path, it's a conscious choice, and sometimes we have to rest because it gets a bit intense. And so if you allow yourself to be vigilant about practicing the embodiment exercises, part of those embodiment exercises is to rest when it's necessary. And when we rest when it's necessary, we're also honest about, do I truly need to stop and do nothing right now? Or could resting look like taking small actions whilst also backing off and maintaining a sort of momentum? And you are the only one who can answer that question for yourself, because it's your life. And every single one of us has our own unique blueprint, has our own unique path upon which we are to tread. And each one of us is creating a new future that starts in this present moment. And so the fifth action step is to constantly review your vision and your dreams. So remember that you've got your vision, you're taking the small daily steps, you're leaning into the challenging emotions and aspects, you're vigilant about continuing to embody, and embodiment, breath work, meditation, yoga, these types of things, dance, these are beautiful things to release stagnant energy within yourself. So they might be part of your embodiment exercise as well. And then reviewing, so constantly reviewing. The masculine, remember, the masculine is about discernment. He helps make the choices in accordance with what feels good in the body. The feminine is about feeling. So he is tuning into her to feel what needs to happen next and take the greatest greatest action that's in alignment with what needs to happen next. So are they in alignment? Are your daily actions in alignment with your visions and dreams? And if they're not, what needs to happen for them to be in alignment? And it might simply be that I need to go and do a yoga class, or I need to just stop and just bring my attention to my breath, or meditate for 10 minutes, or have a cup of tea and just sit down and rest, so that my mind stabilizes and comes into connection with my body and I get to reconnect to Gaia. It might be that simple. We complicate things so much when life is actually really simple. So number 6 is to surround yourself with people who are in resonance. And this one kind of speaks for itself. There was a beautiful quote I heard from Wayne Dwyer years ago, and he said, keep your dreams close to your chest, because especially when you're in the stages of creating something, in the early stages of creating something, if you share it with people who are not in resonance with you and who have not decided to walk this same path, they can create dissonance in your field. And so the more that you can surround yourself with people who are in resonance about where you want to go, or who are on the same path as you, the easier it is for you to tune into these actions every single day and to know that you can continue to take them without having to retract. The 7th action is to be present with receiving every single day. Every single day. And this comes back to gratitude. When you are in the state of gratitude, nothing else can penetrate. So allow yourself every single morning, and maybe when you wake up, this is what I do. Every single morning when I wake up, the first thought that I actively engaged is, I am so grateful for the opportunity to live another adventure today. And I don't know what the day is going to look like, but that's how I start it. I am present with receiving this day from the moment that I wake up, because every single day when I do that, I am affirming that I can trust the direction of the flow, that the universe has my back because I am creator. What was my intention today was to help you remember that you are creator. And the 8th action step is play, dance, sing, experience joy, receive joy, and be joy. Joy, love, beauty, all of those things. My greatest vision, if I can share with you, my greatest vision is to ensure the beauty of our existence is flourishing for future generations. And that rolls off my tongue, because every single day I reaffirm that vision and I look around me and I see that it's true. Does that mean that I have an easy day every day? No. but I return to that vision every single day, and I am actively looking for the aspects of my existence which ensure that the beauty of our existence is flourishing for future generations. And you know what? When I do that, that's reality. That's what is true. That's what is real. The masculine wants to feel free, and the feminine wants to feel loved. And so, how do you use the love of your incredible feminine existence? And every single person who's registered for this webinar is a woman. And so, you are all incredibly loving beings. How can you tune into your love even more deeply to create an even greater sense of freedom for yourself? And if you can start with these simple action steps every single day, because if you have a look, if you've written them down and you have a look what I said, they're all very similar. And really, it takes you 5 minutes at the beginning of your day to actually set yourself up for success on these action steps, because it's the masculine and feminine's destiny to dance together. And you're the temple within which they meet. Your heart is the altar of communion. So I want to say to you that there is a song within you that is waiting to be sung with gusto. The divine masculine knows he doesn't have to wait, because she is strong enough to contain his huge heart energy. The fact that you're on this call right now means that that's actually the truth, because you wouldn't have been attracted to me because of all of the work that I've done in divine union over the years. You wouldn't have been attracted to me, and you wouldn't have actually taken the time to listen to this if that's not true. Your feminine is strong enough to contain his huge heart energy. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. If you've been waiting for the right time or the right sign, perhaps this is your permission slip. And it's not even a perhaps. This is your permission slip to no longer need to wait. You have the ability to go and create whatever it is that you want to create in this world. And for me, it's to ensure the beauty of our existence is flourishing for future generations every single day. And I give myself permission to do that with gusto, whatever that looks like. And so if you want to feel hugely supported on your journey by someone who's facilitated many initiations for myself and others, I invite you to book a call with me today and discuss how you might join Radiant Alchemy, which is my latest program that came through about 5 days after I returned from Egypt. And I came home from Egypt and my week was crazy. And then the next day I needed to just lie down and do nothing. And I was lying on the bed, and all of a sudden all of these downloads came through, and I was like, wait, stop. So I got my notebook and I wrote things down. And what came to me was what I want to share with you now, because I'm so excited about this program, is that Radiant Alchemy Source Ignition Codex is a commitment to your divine union and a statement that declares you're ready to bring deeper presence to your life and create a legacy that serves beautiful humanity. And it's not for everyone, but you will know in your heart if it's for you. And after this webinar, you'll receive this replay and a link to check out the website, which communicates the song of the program. If it resonates with you, click the link to book a call, and I look forward to chatting with you soon about it. And so that is the essence of what I wanted to share with you today about resurrecting the divine masculine. So for so many years, I've done this sacred feminine energy. And when these words, divine masculine, came through to me, resurrecting the divine masculine, I was like, oh, that's weird. But actually, remember, the one thing that I want you to remember is that she goes first. She comes first. Isis led Osiris to remember his humanity so that he could be in divine union with her and seed the sun god Horus. And then he returned to be the god of the underworld. And she became the goddess of fertility, of life, basically. And so allow yourself to just take time to receive and embody everything that I've shared today, And I know that I packed a lot of information into that. And so take the time, if you need to go back over over everything I've shared and those beautiful slides. I really love the sacred and wounded aspect, the slide that shares the sacred and wounded aspects. I think that's a really powerful slide. And so, yeah, take the time to go back and have a look over those. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. And I look forward to potentially speaking to some of you really soon on a call and to excitingly move into radiant alchemy. So I'm wishing you a beautiful day, and thank you so much for spending time here, for trusting me to impart wisdom to you. And yeah, I'm so loving and grateful towards you. Mwah. See ya.